He's young. He still has a lot of football to play, but he's already considered the best player that the U.S. has ever produced, and that may continue unless someone else comes 10, 20 years from now. But right now, it's going to be tough to knock Christian off of that pedestal. That is his legacy. It's an expectation that he hasn't fulfilled yet, but we're ready to give it.
By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why no American footballer has ever been asked to do what Christian Pulisic is about to do, and why nobody, not even him, knows if he can. This is World Cup Untold. And this is Christian Pulisic's story. The clock is running. The United States is about to walk out for the opening match of a World Cup on its own soil in front of its own people for the first time in 32 years. And the man they're calling Captain America hasn't scored in 16 games. 16 against Cagliari, against Genoa, against Inter, against Napoli. 16 90-minute nothings stretching from January into the spring into the weeks before the biggest tournament his country has ever hosted. A former United States captain went on a podcast and said it out loud. I don't think Christian Pulisic is the captain this team needs or wants. The country has spent 10 years deciding he's the answer. Now the country is starting to wonder if he's the question. To understand why this weight is breaking him, or whether it can, you have to go back to a small town in Pennsylvania, Hershey, a town built around a chocolate factory, 5,500 miles from any pitch that mattered. He was 8 years old when he filled out a school survey. What do you want to be when you grow up? He wrote a pro soccer player. What's the best thing about you? He wrote, I love soccer. In a country that didn't love soccer back, his parents had played in college. His father coached lower league sides nobody outside the state had heard of. Harrisburg Heat, Lebanon Valley College, the Detroit Ignition, the kind of football that doesn't get televised, the kind that doesn't make boys famous. But Christian had something the country around him didn't, a grandfather. Mate Pulisic, born on a Croatian island most Americans couldn't find on a map, a name on a passport that 15 years later would change everything. Because European clubs had a rule, no foreign signings under the age of 18, unless you held a European passport. A grandfather from Olib meant Christian could leave America at 16, 2 years earlier than every other American kid who'd ever dreamed what he was dreaming. And in February 2015 he did. Borussia Dortmund, Germany. A language he didn't speak. A school he couldn't follow. A house he didn't sleep in alone for the first time in his life. He was 15 years old. His father moved with him. The rest of his family 6,000 kilometers away in Hershey. He'd later described those months in 2 words: dark days. He was sitting in a German classroom half listening when his phone buzzed. A text from his youth coach, "You're training with the first team tonight." He couldn't concentrate for the rest of the day. He walked into the warm-up that evening, and there was Aubameyang. There was Marco Reus. There was Mats Hummels, Champions League finalists. And there was a 16-year-old kid from a chocolate town. He thought one thing: just do your best. The boy from Hershey scored his first Bundesliga goal at 17 years and 212 days, the youngest non-German ever to do it. Then he kept going. Youngest American in the Champions League, youngest American to score in it. He came on at halftime in the German Cup final, won the deciding penalty, lifted the trophy at 18. In April 2017, he was on the team bus when 3 explosions tore through it. A bombing, his teammates injured around him. He played a Champions League quarter-final the next day. By 2019, Chelsea had paid $73 million for him, the most expensive American footballer in history. And in May 2021 in Porto, he came on as a substitute and won a Champions League. The first American ever to play in that final. The first American to lift it as a starter. He was 22 years old. Back home, ESPN flashed his name across the screen. The kid from Hershey was on top of European football. But there was a moment 4 years earlier that the highlights kept skipping over. October 2017, Trinidad and Tobago, an island stadium. A humid night. The United States needed a result. A simple result. To qualify for the World Cup. They lost 2-1. Christian Pulisic, 19 years old, scored the United States goal. When the final whistle went, he pulled his shirt up over his face. And on the pitch, in front of millions watching at home, he cried. He'd later say it hurt more than he could put into words. The Champions League. The records. The 73 million. None of it filled the hole that night left. Because there was only one thing he'd ever wanted, since he was 8 years old in that Hershey classroom. To play for his country at a World Cup. 2022, Qatar. The redemption began there. He assisted the opening goal of the United States campaign against Wales. And then in the final group game against Iran, with the country needing a win to make the knockouts, Pulisic threw himself at the ball, collided with the goalkeeper, hospitalized, came back on, scored. The United States went through. He was named man of the match 3 times in that tournament. Only 2 players in the entire World Cup got more. Their names were Mbappe and Messi, but Qatar wasn't home. 2026 is. The United States didn't have to qualify for this one. Co-hosts qualify automatically, which sounds like a gift until you understand what it means. It means there is no qualifying campaign to find form on, no World Cup nights to remember before the World Cup begins, no build-up at all. Just friendlies, just doubt. Mauricio Pochettino was hired in 2024, the biggest manager the United States has ever appointed. He has spent every camp since experimenting, searching, pulling players in, sending them home looking for an 11 that works. Tyler Adams, the captain in Qatar, is injured. Tim Ream, the squad's elder, may not even start, which leaves one man. The face on the Paramount documentary, the face on the Milan kit launch, the face the country has spent a decade saying will be the one. Christian Pulisic, whether he wears the armband or not. The weight is already his. He's never carried a load like this before. 1994 was the last time the World Cup came to America. Alexi Lalas. Eric Wijnaldum, round of 16, out. No host nation has lifted the World Cup on home soil since France in 1998. No American has ever walked onto a World Cup pitch with his own country watching like this. And right now at the moment the country needs him most, he can't score. 16 games. A 3 out of 10 in a friendly against Portugal. A coach publicly considering tactical changes to get him on track. A former captain saying he isn't even the right man to lead. Imagine being 27 years old. Imagine spending 12 years building a career so that you could be the one America watches when the World Cup comes home, and imagine the ball not going in. What does success even look like for him now? A goal in the opener, survive the group, beat a giant in the round of 16. What does failure look like? Failure is the country that called him Captain America deciding it was wrong. Failure is the kid from Hershey who left home at 15, who survived the dark days, who came back to lead. Failure is him standing in a stadium full of his own people on the night his career was supposed to mean something, and not being enough. Soon he'll find out which one it is. The boy who left Hershey at 15 will walk out under stadium lights in his own country, in his own kit, with the weight of 32 years of American football on his shoulders. Maybe his country was right about him all along. Maybe Lalas was. He doesn't know, Pochettino doesn't know, the country doesn't know. Only the next 90 minutes know. And 90 minutes will tell us everything. This was Christian Pulisic, the Captain America who can't score. The one man America needs more than it has ever needed any footballer in its history. If you want to know how the rest of his story ends and how the rest of the 48 nations at this World Cup get there, subscribe to World Cup Untold. Every captain, every nation, every story behind the World Cup that nobody else is telling, soon. Then we find out.